Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Dev with Excel. All right, in today's video, we are going to be solving exercise 2.11. In the previous video, we solved exercises 2.6 to 2.10. All right, so the video before this, here we solved exercise 2.10, which talked about separating the components into different modules, and we were able to do that, right? So we were asked to extract three components and we did what the instruction said. All right, so coming to today's video, we are solving exercise 2.11, and it says the phone book step 6. We continue with developing the phone book. Store the initial state of the application in the file db.json, which should be placed in the root of the project. All right, then after that, start JSON server on port 3001 and make sure that the server returns the list of people by going to the address. So this is the address. We are going to be running this address in the browser. Should in case there's an error message here, it means that port 3001 has already been used on your device, on your local machine, right? So you find a way to fix that, or you just use another port instead of 3001. All right, so it is not really a must for you to use the same port, but here they just want us all to be on the same page. Should in case we run into issues, we know we are not running into issues with ports, right? So they want us to use 3001 so that we all are on the same page. But that is not a must. If your port 3001 is occupied, you can either remove what's occupying the port 3000 or simply just use another port like 3002 or 3003 or any one of your choice, right? So that's it. All right, so let's head into the code implementation. So here is what we need to do first. Going to the top of this page, the instructions or the examples are already there, right? So at first, we are expected to create a file named db.json, right, in the root directory of our project. And after that, we can choose to globally install JSON server, right, using the npm install JSON server. But I think the best way we should do is we should not install it globally, but rather we should just run it directly using the npx. So we are going to be using this piece of code here to run the entire server and the file db.json, and also here we are going to be creating the file named db.json and then putting the necessary JSON file into it, which is not this. All right, so let's go down to the instruction. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a file called db.json and copy this data into it. So let's copy the data here and then let's head into the code implementation. Now this is my VS Code, right? And we can see we have a setup folder for this particular exercise. So I'm going to simply cd into this folder by copying the paths and then cd, paste the paths, and then here is it. Then I simply do npm run dev so that we can have this particular setup running on the browser. So going to our browser, let's see what we have. So this is what we have, right? This is the implementation we had in the previous video, I believe. Yes, so here is what we have. So let's be very sure that this actually still work fine. Let's see if we can add a name. Let's name it. Today is Wednesday. Okay, so I just love to name my name using things around us like days, fruits, right? Okay, so the number, let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's click on add to see if that's going to be added. All right, so this adds to the data successfully. So the next thing we want to do is we want to see if we can filter, right? Let's filter Mary by typing MA. So let's type M. So we have Mary, right? Because Mary is the only word here that has M and A together. Okay, so that shows that our current the implementation we have works, and we are going to be updating this to this exercise. All right, so I'm simply going to close everything here, open up step 6, come to names, open names, app.jsx, and then main.jsx. All right, so I'm going to minimize this and also do the same for this. All right, then, so the first thing we need to do is to create the db.json file in the roots file here, the root folder. So we come here and say new file, db.json, and then we do that. So the next thing we want to do is we want to add the data given in the instruction, right? So we have the data here. Let's scroll up. So here is the data. I'm simply going to copy this and then paste it here. All right. Then I save it. Then the next thing we need to do is we need to go back to the top of this page, and then we want to grab a particular piece of code to run. So here we are going to copy this npx JSON server, right? Because we want to run the JSON server using the npx, right? And having a port 3001 for the file db.json. So we simply copy this, and then we go to the terminal again. Let's create another terminal here so that we don't stop the React from processing. All right, so this is still trying to load. What's wrong? Let's just give it some time. All right, so what we need to do now is we are simply going to copy that code we just copied. We are simply going to paste it rather, and we paste it here, and then we click on enter to run it. So be very sure that you have your port on 3000, right? Okay, so I'm going to click on enter here. So let's see what comes up. Okay, so now it says that resources HTTP localhost 3000%, right? Now, how does it get this person? Because here we already have a person's array in this object here, right? And we can see that the person's array here contains a lot of objects, right? So what we are going to be doing is we are simply going to be copying this resource, which is more like an endpoint, and pasting into the browser here. So let me enlarge this and then paste into the browser. So we are expected to get the data in the db.json when we load this. So I click on enter, and as we can see, we have the data that we passed in the db.json rendered on the browser. Let's be very sure. So we have name and number and ID. Let's go to our db.json. Yes. Okay. So as we can see, we have name, number, and ID. Now, don't think that because we also have this data here, that's what is actually being returned here. No. If we remove this, if we comment it and then we remove this, we are still expected to have this data here. So I'm simply going to save this. Saved, because if you go to the React now, you see that this app is going to crash, right? Meaning we've removed the data from the React app. Now, this data is going to be rendered on the browser because for now we are not working with the React app directly. We are rather working with the db.json, right? So let's refresh this and see. So we just refresh this and we still have this data rendered to the browser. All right, so I think with this we've been able to solve exercise 2.11, right? So we've been able to implement exactly what was asked, right? So here is it, guys. Thanks for having me in this video, and till next time, bye.